Look up at the moon. It is so constant, so familiar, that it is easy to forget it is even there, a 250,000 miles of dead grey rock that has hung in our sky for as long as there has been a sky to hang in. We treat it as decoration, a nightlight, a thing for poets, but here is what almost no one realizes. The moon may be one of the main reasons you are alive to look at it. Take it away, and the Earth does not just get a little darker at night. It becomes a far wilder, more violent, more unstable world. So let me show you exactly what we would lose and why a chunk of dead rock might be the quiet guardian of everything that lives here. Let me start with what we actually know, because the moon does far more work than it gets credit for. Start with the tides. The moon's gravity pulls on Earth's oceans, raising the great bulges of water that sweep around the planet twice a day. The sun pulls too, but the moon, though far smaller, is far closer and it dominates. Remove the moon and the tides do not vanish, but they shrink to about a third of what they are now, weak solar tides only. And that matters more than it sounds, because many scientists think those big, sloshing tides, the daily flooding and draining of the shoreline, may have been crucial to life's first move out of the water and onto the land. The rhythmic tide pools, where the boundary between sea and shore became a kind of laboratory for evolution. Now the spin. When the Earth was young, it turned ferociously fast. A day was maybe 6 hours long. Over billions of years, the moon's gravity has been acting like a brake, very gently slowing our rotation, stretching the day out to the comfortable 24 hours we know. Without the moon to slow it, the Earth would still be spinning wildly, with days only a handful of hours long. And a planet that spins that fast is a planet of monsters. Savage winds, relentless storms, a climate far harsher than anything our species has ever had to survive. Picture 6-hour days and 6-hour nights, the sun racing across the sky, the whole atmosphere whipped into a permanent fury by a planet spinning nearly 4 times too fast. We did not evolve for that world. We evolved for the gentle one the moon spent billions of years slowly building. There is the night too. We forget how dark a moonless night truly is. For billions of years, the full moon has been the brightest thing in the dark, and countless animals are built around it, navigating by it, hunting and mating and migrating by its phases. Strip it out and every night becomes pitch black, lit only by stars. No moonlit landscapes, no eclipses ever again. A small thing, perhaps, against storms and tides. But a sky that has watched over every human who ever lived would simply go dark. And it runs deeper than tides and storms, down into the rhythm of life itself. For as long as there has been life that could sense the night, it has lived under the moon. The corals of the Great Barrier Reef spawn together on a single night each year, triggered by the full moon. Turtles, birds, and countless insects navigate and breed by its phases. Our calendars, our months, our myths are all built around its cycle. 3.5 billion years of life have unfolded with that pale light overhead, and we have very little idea how much of the living world is quietly tuned to it. Pull the moon out, and you do not just darken the nights. You cut a thread that runs through everything alive. And yet the most important thing the moon does is the thing you would never guess. It holds the Earth steady. Our planet is tilted, about 23.5 degrees off vertical, and that tilt is what gives us our seasons. Crucially, that tilt stays almost perfectly constant, century after century, and the reason it stays put is the moon. Its steady gravitational grip stabilizes the Earth like a hand resting on a spinning top. Take the moon away, and the tilt comes loose. Over millions of years, it would wander, wildly and chaotically, swinging from nearly 0 to perhaps 60 degrees or more, and back again. And we know this is not just theory, because we can see it next door. Mars has no large moon to steady it, and Mars's tilt has lurched chaotically across its history, swinging between extremes, dragging its climate through violent swings with it. Now imagine that happening to Earth. A tilt that wanders means a climate that lurches between unimaginable extremes, ice ages and infernos, the poles and the tropics trading places over geological time. No stable, predictable climate for long enough for complex ecosystems or complex civilizations to settle in and build. life might still cling on. But the calm, dependable Earth that let forests grow and cities rise, that Earth might never have existed at all. So where did this guardian come from? Here the story turns violent. The leading explanation is that about 4.5 billion years ago, when the Earth was still young and half molten, another world slammed into it. A body roughly the size of Mars, which scientists have named Theia, struck the early Earth a colossal, glancing blow. The impact was so violent it nearly tore the planet apart, blasting a vast plume of vaporized rock into orbit. And out of that ring of molten debris, over time, the moon came together. Our steady, life-protecting moon was born from the single most catastrophic event in our planet's history. It is, quite literally, a piece of the Earth that got knocked loose and never came back down. So now here is where it gets speculative, and I will flag the guesses clearly. The known part is what the moon does for us. The open question is what it means. Because if a large, stabilizing moon really is this important for a calm climate and for complex life, and if getting one requires a freak collision of exactly the right size, at exactly the right angle, at exactly the right moment, then big moons like ours might be genuinely rare. And that turns the moon into something unsettling. It becomes a candidate for one of those filters we have talked about before, one of the lucky steps a world has to pass to grow anything as fragile and demanding as us. Maybe the galaxy is full of life-bearing worlds that never got their freak collision, never got their stabilizing moon, and so never climbed out of a wild, lurching, stormy adolescence into the long, calm summer that intelligence seems to need. Maybe part of the reason the universe looks so quiet is written in our own sky, in a coincidence we have always taken for granted. And the closer you look at how the moon arrived, the more improbable it seems. A collision any harder would have shattered the young Earth outright. Any softer, or at the wrong angle, and no moon forms at all, or one too small to steady anything. The Earth had to be struck by a world of very nearly the perfect size, at very nearly the perfect speed, along very nearly the perfect line, at one fleeting moment in 4.5 billion years. Change any of it, and there is no calm, no stable seasons, no us. In a real and literal sense, we may be the children of a single, perfectly aimed catastrophe. This is all I want to stress, a maybe. We do not know how necessary the moon truly was. Life is stubborn, and it might have found a way on a wilder Earth. But the more we learn, the more it looks like our moon is not decoration at all. It is the load-bearing wall. So what if there were no moon? You would lose the tides and maybe the gentle ladder that helped life climb onto land. You would lose the brake on our spin and live, if you could, on a fast-turning world of permanent storms. The nights would go black and the eclipses would end. And worst of all, you would lose the steadying hand and watch the seasons themselves come unmoored, the climate lurching for millions of years with nothing to hold it still. That is the cosmic maybe hanging over the moon. The science is real, the tides, the slowing spin, the stabilized tilt, the violent birth. The rest, how much of our entire existence we owe to one ancient, perfectly aimed collision, is the most quietly staggering guess of all. We look up at the moon and call it lonely, but it may be the reason we are here to call it anything at all.